Cubs salvage a 10-inning win in San Francisco, and they avoid being swept by the lowly Giants. Now they'll head to Milwaukee. Let's talk a little bit about the game, how the Cubs got back in the win column, and what the team needs to do as they get set to take on the Brewers. We'll talk about that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you check out our videos. We're talking about the Cubs trade deadline. And obviously, Javier Assad being on the IL. Anthony will be along tomorrow morning as well, right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Cubs Baseball channel, at Broadcaster Mick on the socials. Cubs with a 5-3 win in 10, San Francisco. So they lose a lot of close games to the Giants, but they find a way to win one. And it's a must win. All of them are must wins now. The Cubs, with the victory, are now 6 games under the 500 mark. And as the trade deadline gets closer and closer, the debate in my mind is, when do you start thinking sell instead of buy? And I think that for me, I'm already there. But the front office and obviously everyone hopeful that the Cubs can have a turnaround like they did last year, that turned around. And then, obviously, the rest of the story. Ended up a game short, made some trades that one in particular they may regret, but had a chance, right? Hopeful. During this, since the end of April, they had all the injuries. The guys have come back. Some of you guys that are in the comments section that watch the show feel like maybe some of those players came back a little bit too soon, maybe a little bit too early. And that's why they haven't produced like we're used to. Now, Cody Bellinger starting to hit, just not a lot of home runs, but he's getting hits. Seiya Suzuki, not a bad day in San Francisco today. That's a good thing for the Cubs, but no one really has carried the team to victory except this guy, Ian Happ. And it's crazy how he will make sure that these guys win and not get swept. It's like, once a week, sometimes twice a week, he just does something that helps you get across the finish line. And today it was the 2-run homer that hit the top of the wall in the 10th. And that was the difference maker. So, we talk a lot about Ian Happ. Love him or hate him, you got to give the guy credit there. And you go back and look at the wins that the Cubs have had, and there's not many of them lately. He's always, or pretty much always, in the mix with a big game or comes up with a big hit in the games that the Cubs win. And it would be nice if Christopher Morel, if Cody Bellinger, if Seiya Suzuki were to kind of jump in on that as well. Pete Crow Armstrong still starting to figure it out. Love watching him in center field for the Cubs, run the bases. He gets on base. He just steals his way around. I think one of the biggest problems that this Cubs team has, though, is just how fundamentally bad they are at the plate. Their situational hitting is awful. Like you talk about the, some of the situations, hey, get a runner to second base with no outs. The next guy strikes out instead of moving the runner over to third. And then the next guy grounds out. The runner goes to third. I think this was in the 9th inning. And then the next guy flies out and you missed a chance to score. You're going to play Milwaukee tomorrow, right? Watch how fundamental they are. And you go, well, how are you losing to these guys? And you look at the roster, and the roster does not have better names than the Cubs roster, but they play fundamental baseball. And that's something that they've developed through their system. And then you don't just show up to the big leagues and learn at that level how to move runners, how to set up innings, how to play for a run an inning. Some managers like that. Hey, let's just get a guy on, get him over, and get him in. If we do that enough times a game, we're going to win. It seems like the Cubs are always playing for the big inning and the home run. They got it today, but if they don't get it, they're in big trouble. And they're in big trouble a lot. And you look at their 14-19 record in one-run games. You win a lot of those one-run games when you're able to be fundamentally sound. And that's what goes behind the stats, behind the analytics. Winning baseball doesn't necessarily mean analytically winning baseball. Remember that. The analytics may say, oh, this guy gets out and this guy does this and this guy doesn't do that. And then you watch, and like Milwaukee, they win a lot. And then you're like, hey, you know what? They got a double. They moved him to third. And then the next guy, if with the infield back grounded out and he scored, or with the infield in, hit a fly ball and he scored, you get those runs in, it makes the difference. And to me, I think as this season starts to wind down, and I'm putting this sweet season in a box right now between now and the trade deadline. If I'm the Cubs and I'm the front office, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that we're in a seller's market again, unless something miraculous happens between now and then. But, watching these guys play, they better play with a sense of urgency because they're running out of time. And we talked about it on our other show, destinations for some of these players. And you guys are like, well, who would want them? I think that the value of a player isn't just going to matter of what they did this year. I think their full body of work will help build that value up. So I think there will be some value for some guys if the Cubs, make some deals. Stōta Imanaga back to being Stōta again. Ran into a little trouble with 2 outs and 2 strikes. Gave up a hit here, a wild pitch, and another ball that's just kind of bad luck ground ball that's tied the game. But I thought he pitched really well. It was good to see. The splitter and the fastball were working. Really still just super impressed with what Stōta Imanaga gives you, and have enjoyed that. And then congratulations to Porter Hodge. Bullpen got the job done. I mean, don't overlook that, because they haven't got the job done a lot lately, but they did today. And it was Porter Hodge getting the save. Even after that ball, just glanced off the glove of Dansby Swanson, he hung in there and ended up getting the final 3 outs, and the Cubs won, and that they had to have it. And you could hear the relief on the broadcast team, and I think all of us had a sigh of relief. But it's one game. Now you got to go back and do it again. And taking on the Brewers in this weekend series, Cubs need to be at their best. And, even with a win, I mean, they're just avoiding being swept and ending a losing streak. So quick look at it. Cubs and Brewers tomorrow, 7:10. Jamison Taillon will try to continue his excellent pitching, 4-2 record and a 2.90 ERA. And look, if the Cubs go trade, if they go at the deadline, sell, this guy might be someone that you could sell and get a pretty good return for. Colin, who's a really good homegrown pitcher for Milwaukee, 6-2 with a 3.62 ERA. All right, tomorrow morning, Ant will be on. Make sure you check out his show. We put a couple videos out today. Watch those as well. Thanks for hanging here, guys. Like and subscribe. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of our channel as we try to build this thing. It feels like the sky's falling for us Cubs fans, but the best part about the game is there's always another day. Go Cubs.